Hello everyone, this is Jay High from Couch and Keyboard, and I am back again. I had a little bit of time off, but I'll get right into it. This was the mid-tier report for this past week, the final weekend of May, and we had a few smaller brackets, like a few of them not too bad, nearing the 100 range. A few smaller ones, but still pretty cool. I think of some results. Last time I went a little bit too long. I went over each of these results by player. I'm just going to go over the events. With some of these being like my top 5 standouts, probably. You could argue, maybe one higher than another. But I'll go ahead and get into it. So framework in Ontario, Canada, you didn't really see much. They had a few cool things. They had a beginner only bracket, singles. Did not see very many mid tiers, but I think you had like a Pikachu early on in bracket, but nothing much here. Kind of your standard stuff. Tapped in. This was something that happened on the Sunday. Pretty small doubles bracket. For singles, it had around 30, and it was pretty interesting. We've had some up and coming Mars in NDVA. We saw BS go. I believe this was going to be a Mart Ditto, but BS actually went Pikachu against Takeshi Smart. It was pretty interesting. But and then also shout outs to Bari, went to one of our events. But, Richmond and Nova are both pretty good in terms of player base. So you had so some of the higher seeds were mid tiers. Technically, you had 8VA, a pretty solid Luigi. But winners finals was actually an Ices Ditto. I wasn't sure if it was going to be Ices Marth. But Crike, known for having a Marth and an Ices. And I thought that Juice Box was going to go like Sheik just for having confidence in the matchup. But Juice Box has a Peach. Actually didn't really realize that. And was able to get the run back. I guess not run back, but I guess Frostbite had a pretty good result recently. But Juicebox 3-0 Frostbite in Peach Ices, and then Crike was able to beat Juicebox with Ices, which Frostbite has been pretty solid, but Crike definitely a very solid player, but going Marth a decent amount of the time, while Frostbite is almost entirely solo Ice Climbers. So I do think that Ice Climbers have proven their ability to be a good counterpick character, while having weaknesses in terms of solo naming. This being an example. And yeah, I think that, Ices have been a part of NDVA for a while. You have Chudat and Tendude both being classic NDVA players. Even having players, Cool Lime comes to mind. I know he's a 64 player now, but we've had a bunch of Ices here and there. And so, yeah, important to the matchup in the region. We also had Giga Hog, which was a Connecticut event. This is kind of like close to Tri-State. Some people kind of consider it to be New England's. Kind of depends who you ask. But it had a crossover between the two, which the two main higher level players were, you see, Bonfire 10 and Ipu, both being top 100. Pretty solid players, but neither of them won. As you can see, they got second and third, with Bonfire 10 able to win in losers finals, but Nariel, the 6th seed, Pikachu mainly, was able to have a pretty impressive run to win the event. I had not heard of Nariel. If we look at, I'm trying to think of, if they were on a ranking of some kind. Okay, second in New England. So, props there. Being in Connecticut, so kind of home field advantage and all that. And so offline we don't see a ton of amazing wins, but it seems like beating Ipu and Bonfire before Also beating Beckfin, pretty interesting. That could be a tough matchup. Good against Faces too. So yeah, good stuff to Nariel. I mean, it's not like being seeded 6 means you have no expected chance of winning. But good stuff there. Glock did not have a very good bracket. It doesn't say if Glock went Game & Watch. I assume that Glock did go Game & Watch because they were seated pretty high. I don't know. But, and then you had Green Statch, known for being, pretty solid. One of the better New England players, but did get 5th. Coonslayer had a pretty solid lose run, also beating Kuro. I watched this set. It was really solid game 1, and then kind of I think there was like a 4-stock in there, and it was like Kuro was doing fine, but it was kind of a slow bleed. And I think sometimes people expect like Spaceys to be really, glass cannony, and Ganon can just kind of blow them up. But I mean, Fox can also edge guard very well. Shine, back air, all these kinds of stuff. Like, you can really make a Ganon regret than choosing the character. But Kuro also had a pretty good loser's run, being the 10th seed here, and making it all the way through to top 8. That's pretty good. So I'll give Kuro his flowers there. And we don't see a lot of Ganon currently. In my Ganon video, I mentioned a lot of Ganons, but there's not a lot entering a lot right now. So shout out to Kuro getting top 8. That's definitely impressive. Then you have Big Dog. I hadn't heard of this event until I kind of like stumbled across it. But yeah, you had a bunch of different mid tiers here. Luigi Kamaster also has a Falcon, so it's not like it's only Luigi, but able to upset, because Spirit Gun had a decent run at Fight in the Museum, so it makes sense that Spirit Gun be seated a little higher. I think Luigi Kamaster might have kind of like that legacy type of thing. But yeah, you had a few. You had a Doc in here. Not a ton outside of that. Some of these other pools had a ton of mid tiers. Yeah, you had some Yoshis, Link, Ices, a bunch of Ices with Candle and a few others. But yeah, nothing too crazy in terms of huge upsets from the mid tier. Stiv still going Yoshi some. Not just in the Falco matchup, but we did see it here. Also against Marth. This makes sense. Yoshi Marth seems to be a decent matchup. While Marth can do good in getting those hits, it's hard to string things together. A little bit of a loser's run for this Sevilla Luigi here, but Stiv actually got some Yoshi set wins. I haven't really seen that much from Stiv, no offense, but it seems like a lot of times the Yoshi's losing. And then you had a young Link here, kind of lost early in losers, but it happens. But yeah, and we did see more of some mid tiers in top 16. Stiv going Yoshi against. Which instead of it being Graves and the weapon, it was Jello this time around. But there's a bunch of Falcos in the Pacific Northwest, and so Stiv is getting that match experience. I understand not really want to stick it out. Dippy Dacky the Ditto, I don't know. I think Yoshi's hard as a counter pick character. You have to devote a lot of time. Kamaster taking Aura to game 5, and Aura has a lot of experience against Rat Monster recently. So that's pretty good there. I think did benefit from Chango losing early. That would have been interesting to see. But either way, 5th place, pretty solid there. And yeah, and then we have Camp Heartlands, or Smash Camp Heartlands, what you want to call it. Wisconsin, kind of Schrodinger's regional national thing. Some people don't like Smash Camp to count. I think if you're going to enter a bracket, especially if it's on a weekend, then it should count. But, it is whatever. Yeah, we had some DQs here, so that kind of made things a little bit wonky. DevDog getting 33rd, Kibby getting 49th, Dreamlands, the Pikachu. We also had a Zelda here, Pie for Days, which I know it's the mid-tier report, but figured I include a couple low tiers too. Strange Alien Matter, the Ices. Yeah, we just had a lot of representation. Like, yeah, you have your Sheiks and Foxes and whatnot. But yeah, Quasar had a decent win here against Ambi. Did lose to DZ, but then DZ lost to Lop, who we've seen Lop a decent amount recently, doing okay. But, you know, the 4-5 getting the match there. DZ technically top 100 last year. Jiffy also losing. Smiles having a little bit of a loser's run. Quasar, you know, losing to another member of Melee Stats, being Danny, SF. Jiffy able to make it through. DZ also make it through. We're seeing more Falco versus Yoshi, which I remember, like, I think that Falco Shine breaks Yoshi armor. Because I remember, like, Amsa and Axe were playing, and Amsa kept getting Shine Spike with Falco Shine. So I think that at like a lower level, I don't know. I mean, but you also get to kill Yoshi you get to kill Falco pretty well, and then you can just kind of edge guard him really well, like, you know, go for down tilt or edge hog. Jiffy did beat the Peach here, Fry, and yeah, shout out Zasa from NC. But yeah, and some other pools, we had a lot going on. I don't know what Backfin was doing here. I think Backfin is like somewhat retired now. Was, you know, going a bunch of random, a lot of different mid tiers. You had Blesse, didn't do too hot here, getting 33rd. Herotus, one of the only Samuses. Also Mace. Mace used to be MDA, I believe. Flatline making it out for Doc. Shout outs. Also being Nakama Man. Grab to win, another Ice Climber player able to make it through. And yeah. And then we had Cannonball and Floating Mess Maya teamed. So I believe they're like the same region, or at least know each other. So kind of funny that they're in the same pool. They avoided each other, thankfully. But we also had a Game & Watch that didn't do too hot. Jopo, the Luigi, didn't do amazing. Maya was able to make it out. Cranky able to make it out. Yeah, so in the top cut here, we had a decent amount of mid tiers. We had 2 Yoshis get 17th. You had some Ices down here, Grab to Win, and Lop. Yeah, in terms of, what was it, Beckman, yeah. So got 13th here, so none of the Ices did particularly well. It had, you know, the Icy, I don't want to say team kill, but they played each other here. And then Ben did go a little bit of Luigi against Ices. That's been his standard counter pick, because Icy's Sheik is considered to be pretty bad. Sopo has a chain grab on Sheik, so even if you kill Nana, you can still take a lot of damage. It's hard to like really extend that lead and all that. But yeah, you know, Cranky going game 5 with Link, not too bad there. But yeah, didn't see a ton of mid tiers in top 8 itself. But people at least representing, you know, Salt losing early, able to make it back through. You know, Ben used a little bit of Luigi, definitely not going to use it against Salt, but used it earlier in bracket. So shout outs. You also had an online invitational. I thought it was pretty cool. Ram Monster DQ. This is for young players. I think anyone below 21 could enter. So you have, you know, some classic young guns like Dial M, J-Chew, Salt in Your Eye, OG Kid. Those are kind of the main ones. Yeah, a few. I've learned about King Poyo the First being a pretty solid Kirby main. We took some games, wasn't able to take a set. But yeah, Salt in Your Eye, losing to Relaxin'. You know, that's still okay. But Icy's there getting top 8. Which people would probably assume with the Crudo win, you know, being pretty solid. I expect that to be a little bit higher, but you know, it's hard. There's some people that are going the top tiers, and it's hard to beat them sometimes. J2 able to make a little bit of a loser's run, having this harder side of bracket, which OG Kid as the 4 is not necessarily like, that's like OG Kid could definitely like, I don't know if OG Kid would be Rat Monster, but OG Kid's good. And as proven, we saw J2 did lose. And some people, they like to go Fox against Puff, switching like Axe did, and Swift as well. Even see Relaxin trying to counterpick Pikachu with Icy. So Pikachu sometimes, like, there's some matchups that are perceived to be really bad, but J2 able to beat the Icies. Did lose to the Puff though. OG Kid did take a set, but Dial M able to come out on top. So DK doing pretty good here, but I want to give a lot of props to the offline winners of Nariel and Crike. I think those were both pretty solid wins, especially Nariel. Not to say that MBVA wasn't, I think in terms of rankings, maybe you could argue a little bit more top heavy, but Nariel is not nearly as established as Crike is. I mean, Crike's been top 50 before. So Nariel shout outs. That's probably my, you know, my MVP in terms of results here. But yeah, there was a decent amount. Coming up at Battle of BC, there may not be quite as much, just because Rat Monster's not going. I didn't see a ton. I know Axe is going, so he's going to be holding it down. A few Ice Climbers. Some people don't think Ice Climbers is a mid-tier. I just go off the most recent tier list, and there was a drop down. It used to be that Icy's within the top 8 top tiers, and then there was a drop down for Pikachu, Samus, Luigi, and all that. But most recently in 2021, it was Icy's as a mid-tier, at least by my definition. So that's where I'm going, and that's okay if you disagree. Also with Wobbling Band, I feel like it's, you know, they have to be a little bit more niche as it is, but yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Like, yeah, we saw some people not do very good, like Game & Watch not the best, Samus not the best. Luigi, okay. Obviously, I mean, Luigi's being pretty carried by Rat Monster. We're seeing some other stuff. I'm sure we'll see Raiden. I'm sure we'll see, you know, maybe like Hoborg and all these other players start to come out and show out a little bit. Well, Kyle Master did. I forgot about Kyle Master. Kyle Master did good. And Green Sash did okay. But, yeah, interesting stuff. We'll have to see how it updates next time.